Can we be honest with the American people about what's going on here? This is political theater. I'm going to call out both sides right here. It's all posturing. It's fake fighting. We all know where it ends up. This is Groundhog Day. I don't care if the Democrat is the speaker or Republican is the speaker. We always get a CR in September, and then we get an omnibus. Sometimes there's a twist on that. We might get the omnibus before Christmas, but if we're not good, it comes after Christmas. But that's what's going to happen. And in the meantime, it's political theater. You know, we've got some, it's good theater. We've got great writers. I wish they'd just come up with a new plot. It's the same plot every fiscal year. Why do we always spend at least as much as we did last year, and why do we never cut spending? It's because Democrats want to grow the welfare state, and Republicans want to grow the military-industrial complex. And we're eventually going to get together, and they're both going to go up. I guarantee it. And both parties are just fine letting the bureaucrats do their thing, which should be our thing, according to Article 1, Section 8 in the Constitution. We are empowered with these things. Most important of the things we do is the funding, and that's the big lever we have. You know, I've sat through now almost 2 years of hearings in this Congress where we've exposed lies at the CDC, shortcuts at the FDA, unconstitutional gun bans at the ATF, over-prosecution of January 6ers at the DOJ, targeting common citizens at the FBI, spying by the NSA, illegal mandates for livestock by the USDA, targeting plant vaccine or transgenic plant vaccine at the NSF, and censorship, the censorship industrial complex of which the NSF is part of, automobile kill switch at the DOT. Now, these are all things I think most Democrats are just fine with, this kind of totalitarian state that the bureaucrats are pushing on us. But Republicans at least pretend to be against these things. But what are we going to do this September? We're going to fund every freaking one of those things that we have exposed. That is the tool that we have, is the funding. Why are we funding things we don't like? We don't have to. Well, it's because we're addicted to spending. And this doesn't do anything about the addiction at all. So let me touch on one point too here that I think is important. Is, you know, a couple years ago, or a summer and a half ago, I suppose now, we did something where we allowed the debt limit to be increased. But as a condition of that, we said if you do a CR that lasts past April 30th, everything's going to get cut 1%. And that, to me, seemed like at least a little tinge of fiscal responsibility was creeping in. But now I notice that this CR, instead of going 1 year and giving us time to do the 12 appropriations bills, is going to go 6 months. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen because this goes 6 months. Number one, it ends in March 28th, on March 28th. Well, the automatic cuts happen on April 30th if the CR went past that. So that is exactly why the Speaker chose a 6-month CR, is so we don't have even the chance, a threat to this town, it's a threat of a 1% cut. We don't want to even, this is like T-ball. The 1% cut is on the tee, and Republicans won't even swing at it. So instead, we're going to do a 6-month CR instead of a 1-year CR. That sets up another crisis next spring where we can do another pretend fight sometime around March. And that fight it'll be the same fight regardless of who wins the presidency and who's in charge of the Senate and the House. And we're basically going to get pretty much the same result. But that's 6 months from now. In the meantime, we can kick the can down the road. All of these things that we've exposed and all of these hearings are going to continue to get funded. But wait, there's a bright, shiny object on this CR. I've never seen one of these. I have never seen a bright, shiny object attached to one of these must-pass bills. Oh, wait, no. It actually happens. There always is a bright, shiny object, a bauble, if you will. A little something to get excited about. This SAVE Act, it's going to save us all, right? And by the way, this is good political theater. I do like this part of it, that we're going to see almost every Democrat cast a vote so that illegals can vote in our elections. I mean, that's pretty clever on the part of our speaker to set that up, make you all take that vote. But here's what he's going to do after you take that vote. He's going to take it off. The bright, shiny object goes away. It's Lucy and the football again. And the American public is all revved up. Yeah, we're going to get to save it. We're going to save these elections. We're going to stop the illegals from voting. Really? How are you going to do that in like 6 weeks? I think they're already registered if they're going to vote. Some of them probably already voted. This SAVE Act ain't going to save anything. And particularly because it ain't ever going to become law. It's a false promise to get all the Republicans half pregnant. And then you're going to get fully pregnant by the end of September when you vote for this CR. That is not going to have this, I mean, I hate to break this to you. I mean, the Democrats already know this. I'm not telling you anything special. I hate to break it to the Republicans. You ain't getting the SAVE Act. It is not going to stay on this bill. Why? Because we're going to cave. We're going to cave. Is it a fight worth having? Absolutely, it's a fight worth having. Make those Democrats say they want illegals to vote. Make them take that vote as many times as you can. And then make them go to the ballot box in November. But that's what it is. It's political theater, folks. We all know where it ends up. We've seen it. I've been here 12 years. I've seen it 12 times. I refuse to be a thespian in this failure theater. And with that, I yield back.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
Yeah. What a Chad. You know?
Giga.
Welcome back to another episode of It's Too Late. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by the number one producer in late night. It's Dave Willimowski. Dave! Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Hey. I'm doing pretty good. Summer's wrapping up here. We're getting our last hurrah. We got a few 80s days coming up, so 80 degrees. Yeah, so we're going to enjoy that and then get ready for fall. How you doing?
I am going to enjoy every last drop of summer, dude. I mean, you say like we've got some 80s days. It's 90 degrees here, but I mean, that hasn't changed, but you know, it's not 100. But it's about 90.
So that's nice, yeah.
Yeah. It's actually getting ready to rain the next 5 days in a row. So I'm super pumped for that. And so great that it starts on Thursday, the happiest day of the week.
Favorite day.
Yeah. It won't even stop raining until this time next week. My Thursday is going to last until we do another show. That's the way I'm looking at it. Yeah.
That sounds nice. I like Thursday.
Yeah. Quick little bit of news. Aaron's already shared the link in chat, but we got to get that out there, guys. If you want to see more, It's Too Late for another 7 years, I guess. We had our 7-year anniversary like a week ago. So if you want to have another 7 years of things like It's Too Late, SportsBall, postcards, whatever, you got to go to that link and become a monthly subscriber to Alan Mosley TV. We would be eternally grateful if you did. If we raise enough money, Dave will get to hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share the good news with you. Yeah.
I'll be happy for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I like about you is that if things are good, you're like, oh, this is great. And if things are bad, you're like, oh, they'll get better. It's just,
yeah.
You're just
this
always.
Too shall pass.
Yeah. But will it though?
No.
Oh, so you're happy because you've just kind of accepted. It's acceptance.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Topping tonight's stories, President Biden's back in the news. Remember him? Remember that we had a president named Joe Biden? I mean,
those were crazy times.
Yeah, apparently we still have one. After speculation that the president had essentially like resigned his duties as commander in chief, he actually met with the press this week to let them know his plans for the upcoming week. Here, take a look.
I'm going up to my granddaughter's birthday in New York. Then we're going to watch a debate. And then tomorrow I'm doing 9/11.
I'm sorry. Come again?
What?
Biden's doing 9/11 again.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's terrible. I can tell you, I know for a fact there's one person in particular that's going to be pissed that Biden's doing 9/11.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his thing. Look at him.
Yeah. That's him being told that Biden's doing another 9/11.
It's bullshit.
Oh, man. But of course, everybody's talking about the big debate last night the first debate between former President Donald Trump and DNC nominee. Well, it's not really a nominee, really more like the she was just sort of like prescribed.
Selected.
Yeah, selected. Yeah, selected is the right word because it's very ambiguous. Who selected her? Who knows? But she was selected. That's Kamala Harris. The debate was really not a strong performance by either candidate, quite frankly. A lot of people have talked a lot about how it was basically a 3v1 for Trump. Trump was going up against Kamala, but also the two moderators from, what was it, ABC? This one? I think it was ABC News.
I think it was, yeah.
And so they're just constantly throwing softballs to Kamala to knock out of the park, but they're just constantly jumping on Trump and fact checking him. Yeah. Which that's such a modern invention, right? Like politicians have always lied. That's not new.
Yeah.
But they didn't, like, in the middle of the debate say, no, I'm sorry, cut that piece of shit's mic. Let me show you this chart about why he just lied. That never happened. And it doesn't happen precisely because it's kind of the job of the public to hear what the candidates have to say, and it's the job of the media to just give them the platform, not to do like live scoring, right? Like there's not a scoreboard in the back and the moderators are keeping track. It's supposed to just be, well, you just hear it. We're just going to let them talk and you guys listen and then you make your own decision. But that's their way of trying to kind of help people make their decision. You know what I'm saying?
Make up their mind.
But there were some doozies out there. Like, for instance, Trump repeatedly claimed that all the illegals that have been brought into the country by Kamala are now killing and eating family pets. Did you see that?
Oh,
yeah.
I've seen some memes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're saying that like the Haitians are all like eating people's cats. Yeah. Do we have a picture of illegal aliens eating cats?
Oh yeah, I got one. Here we go.
Yep.
That's what you wanted, right?
There he is right there. Yeah. He's from Haiti, apparently.
What? I thought it was Melmac.
Kind of looks like it. And frankly, Trump's performance, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I hate to get all political here, but Trump's performance wasn't very good. And frankly, his debate performance last time wasn't very good either. But that time he was going up against a literal corpse. And so you couldn't really tell how bad his performance was. Whereas this time he was only going up against someone who was brain dead, not just dead. And of course, on cue, all the MAGA people come rushing out with the excuses, right? Such as, well, the monitors were ganging up on him. And this was my personal favorite. Well, actually, Trump was really never good at these debates. That's your defense of your candidate, is he was never good? Like, listen, if you guys are ever enjoying any of the wonderful content from Mosley TV on the interwebs, and you see somebody trashing the show, first of all, I don't want you to feel like you need to go white knight for me. That's not necessary. Yeah. But if you're going to, you shouldn't say, if somebody says, man, this show sucks, your response should be, oh yeah, well, it's always sucked.
Yeah. Big surprise.
That doesn't do anything for me. I don't think you haven't changed any hearts and minds on that one. And of course, Kamala Harris, she didn't really do any better. So a lot of people have talked about how Kamala is just copying a bunch of positions that are centrist friendly that Trump has indicated that he would support, because she's just, you could say that she's just lying, but she's essentially copying his agenda for votes. I'll give you a perfect example. She said that she was always in favor of fracking.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
No. Wait a minute.
Well, she was always in favor of fracking. But
except for that moment.
If only we had some evidence to the contrary. Wait, hold on. Stop the show.
Oh.
Do we have a picture of Kamala Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
It gets me every time, too. You know, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the candidates kind of broke it down to this. If Trump gets elected, that's the end of democracy.
Oh.
And if Kamala gets elected, that's the end of Israel.
Oh, no.
Damn. We really do need a unity party.
Oh, combine them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we should run on that, Dave. You and me.
Oh,
Mosley Wilimowski, 2028. End democracy,
show.
end Israel.
I think
We could get those signs printed right up. You and me.
Well, I mean, I'll help with the show.
I don't know. Your last name's a little long. We're gonna have to come up with something else for you. How about people like Johnson? So we'll do Johnson.
Fine.
Yeah, Dave Johnson. Yep. I think
that sounds strong.
Yeah. Right. Good.
Yeah, it
good,
sounds like a politician.
Good hard Johnson in there. Yeah. All right. Anyway, on that note, of course, today is the 23rd anniversary of 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 23 years. Do you remember where you were when 9/11 happened and like you saw the news or whatever?
Actually, I was working in a kitchen and everybody was bothering me about some stupid plane hitting a building. I'm like, stupid pilot. I'm trying to cook breakfast here.
Yeah, gotta get these.
That was pretty much right. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta get these biscuits out. I don't know.
Yeah.
The table
I
for
didn't
still
understand
waiting.
the scope.
Yeah. Nobody ever tips the cooking staff, you know. It's
Yeah.
bullshit. All right. Did you ever get tipped? Did anyone ever like give a tip to the back of house?
I never got tipped cooking, but I did get tipped busing. But that'd be from the waitresses. If you took care of them, they'd take care of you.
Oh, I bet they would.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. We'll at Mary in the next segment, see how that's going. But one thing I wanted to share really quick before we take our first commercial break is one thing that I always like to do on the anniversary of 9/11, and it's perfect this year because Wednesday night fell on 9/11, is read this quick little letter that was written by a guy that you might have heard of named Harry Brown. Do we have a picture of Harry Brown?
Oh, yeah, here.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh, that's a strong jawline.
Harry Brown, Libertarian Party candidate for president for like a bajillion years. God, we wish we had Harry Brown. Harry Brown would just beat the fuck out of Chase.
Yeah, he was
anyway,
great.
Yeah, boy, he had Big Johnson energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been Harry Johnson.
So this was a letter that Harry Brown wrote on September 12th, 2001. That's something to keep in mind. This is the day after the attack. He wrote this publicly.
Wow.
The terrorist attacks against America comprise a horrible tragedy, but they shouldn't be a surprise. It is well known that in war, the first casualty is truth, that during any war, truth is forsaken for propaganda. But sanity was a prior casualty. It was the loss of sanity that led to war in the first place. Our foreign policy has been insane for decades. It was only a matter of time until Americans would have to suffer personally for it. It is a terrible tragedy of life that the innocent so often have to suffer for the sins of the guilty. When will we learn that we can't allow our politicians to bully the world without someone bullying back eventually? President Bush has authorized continued bombing of innocent people in Iraq. President Clinton bombed innocent people in the Sudan, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Serbia. President Bush Sr. invaded Iraq and Panama. President Reagan bombed innocent people in Libya and invaded Grenada. And on it goes. Boy, imagine all the people he'd be adding to that list if he were here today. It just... Did we think the people who lost their families and friends and property and all that destruction would love America for what happened? When will we learn that violence always begets violence? Supposedly, Reagan bombed Libya to teach Muammar al-Gaddafi a lesson about terrorism. But shortly thereafter, a Pan Am plane was destroyed over Scotland, and our government tried to convince the world it was the Libyans who did it. When will we learn that teaching someone a lesson never teaches anything but resentment, that it only inspires the recipient to greater acts of defiance? How many times on Tuesday did we hear someone describe the terrorist attacks as cowardly acts? But as misguided and despicable as they were anything but cowardly. The people who committed them knowingly gave their lives for whatever stupid beliefs they held. But what about the American presidents who ordered bombings of innocent people, while the presidents remain completely isolated from any danger? What would you call their acts? When will we learn that forsaking truth and reason in the heat of battle almost always assures that we will lose the battle? And now, as sure as night follows day, we will be told we must give up more of our freedoms to avenge what never should have happened in the first place. When will we learn that it makes no sense to give up our freedoms in the name of freedom? You know, the Patriot Act was passed right after he wrote this, not before.
Mm-hmm.
What should be done? First of all, stop the hysteria. Stand back and ask how this could have happened. Ask how a prosperous country isolated by two oceans could have so embroiled itself in other people's business that someone would want to do us harm. Even sitting in the middle of Europe, Switzerland isn't beset by terrorist attacks because the Swiss mind their own business. Second, resolve that we won't let our leaders use this occasion to commit their own terrorist acts upon more innocent people, foreign and domestic, that will inspire more terrorist attacks in the future. Third, find a way with enforceable constitutional limits to prevent our leaders from ever again provoking this kind of anger against America. There are those who will say this article is unpatriotic and un-American, that this is not a time to question our country or our leaders. When will we learn that without freedom and sanity, there is no reason to be patriotic? For anybody who watched the debate last night, we haven't learned. Guys, we're going to be back with the meme of the week in the viewer mail right after this commercial break. Change your thoughts. Change your destiny.
Wow, that's actually a good one.
I don't know.
I like that.
Just change your thoughts.
So you're thinking wrong, Alan. Or maybe
I've never been this clear.
you know.
Why do you laugh always assuming the worst? Why can't that have been a good thing?
Yeah.
All right. You know what we forgot to do again?
Oh crap.
Oh, one came out. I guess.
Oh.
Better eat that real quick.
Crunchy snack.
Oh my God, the bag opened. It's just,
The studio's now saturated in coffee goodness.
Let me tell you about Fox and Sons Coffee. Steve Fox. Let me tell you about Steve Fox for a second.
Oh, we're getting personal.
So we had our anniversary show coming up last week, and the week before that, we had to take a week off because we had a lot of stuff going on here in Alan Mosley TV world, and I was like, I'm going to need an extra week to get the anniversary show ready. And who do I get a message from to make sure everything's okay?
He noticed.
No, Steve didn't do that. But he did message me. He did message me after the show came on to say, what am I even paying for?
Oh.
So, but that counts as him thinking about us.
Yeah, he thought about us. He's paying attention.
Yeah, so you can get that at Fox and Sons Coffee, which you can find at foxandsons.com. Use promo code ITL. I guess we might as well go ahead and do the other ad too while we're here.
Yeah,
Just
like a
get
commercial
back.
break. Yeah.
Because I actually have one of the hot ones. This is the Tennessee Hot
Oh.
Sauce Company, which you can find on tnhotsauceco.com. Use promo code It's Too Late. You get 10% off your entire order. Tons of different products. Their beef jerky's amazing, and also he's got something like 20 different flavors of hot sauce now, including
He's out of control.
The blood orange ghost.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. Isn't that like didn't y'all watch a movie that was set in Haiti and it was something like this, Blood Orange Ghost? Isn't that what that was called?
Is that the serpent and the rainbow?
Yeah, Blood Orange Ghost. Yeah, that's right. So,
Okay.
apparently there is a thing called blood oranges, and they are in fact in this.
Yeah, they're red. They're kind of cool.
So, it's just, I mean, it's got like some peppers in there too.
Sounds delicious. The bottle looks scary too. I bet you that's hot.
He put on the ingredients list blood orange, tomato, bell peppers, ghost, garlic. But it doesn't say ghost peppers. It just says ghost.
Oh.
There's someone's soul is in this bottle, and if you consume it, then
You own them. I think you can get those on Temu.
yeah, but you're gonna get like some shitty Southeast Asian soul as opposed to like a good,
Yeah.
clean Caucasian soul. You know?
I'll have to ask them what's in there. What kind of quality souls are in this?
Yeah. I wonder which
Ghost
sponsor will
one.
be more upset about our ad reads. Steve, that we like almost forgot his, or Danny, that we're, you know. So
The
anyway,
necromancer now.
Tennessee Hot Sauce Company, TN Hot Sauce Co. It's too late. Hey Dave,
Yes, Alan.
what time is it?
It's time for meme of the week.
You're starting to remind me of me, 50 years back. Minus the charisma. An impressive comment. Maybe we can just get along.
You had that conversation with your sons, Dave?
Not yet. I don't know.
Okay. Well, when they you know discover gambling, you'll be able to sit them down,
No.
talk to them. All right.
Hang on.
But we do have a bonus meme. Check out the bonus meme.
Toss me.
Toss me.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Pretty good.
You know what I've been thinking about since it's 9/11?
Yeah.
You know that you know those Pixar movie Cars, like Cars and
yeah.
Cars 2?
Love
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in Cars 2, there's this scene at an airport, and they show in the background that there's post 9/11 airport security, which that means that in the Cars universe, 9/11 is canon. Like it happened, and that's why then they have the 9/11 security at the airports.
Oh.
But then, like, just a couple of scenes later, they show airplanes. And you know how, like, in their world, all the vehicles are like
Yeah.
people. The planes are sentient, and they're not
Yes.
controlled by the pilots. They fly themselves,
Yes.
which would mean that in their universe, the planes did 9/11.
Yeah. They kamikazed it. Yeah. That's nuts.
That's been a lot for me to think about. This,
Is that why we missed that week's episode?
yeah, I had to.
Well-
Yeah, I was just here thinking about that this whole week.
Flushing it out.
Let's go ahead and answer some viewer mail. That's so like upbeat and like you know like fluffy, but then there's that other one that's really serious and like
Yeah.
breaking news-ish or whatever. I don't know. We got to refresh those. Can you add that to my list of things I said we need to
Yeah,
do?
I got
at the okay.
pretty long.
Some real Johnson energy on that list. All right. Andrew Avery writes, Dear Alan and Dave, if you sign Dak Prescott to a $260 million contract, do you get a quarter back? I wish they could get it all back if they just cut him like tonight. Just cut him, and then they get all the money back and sign anyone else.
Should be in every contract.
Yeah. Well, you know the Browns wish they could cut Deshaun Watson because he keeps on, having spa days. I guess is a family-friendly way of, yeah. I mean, All right. Justin Campbell writes, Dear Alan and Dave, which family pet goes first in the apocalypse? Cat, dog, ferret, bunny, parrot, hamster? Well, you guys only have one pet, right?
Oh, we got some goldfish, and then we got the cat.
You're not going to live very long on those goldfish.
No, that's just an evening.
Yeah. You think Simon would know, like he would instinctively be able to feel that you guys were planning on eating them and he would just nope out?
I think he just believes that anyways. That's just how he lives his life.
Then why does he stay?
Because we don't let him out.
I think if he wanted out, he could get out.
Probably. He'd probably get through a screen or something.
That means he thinks he'll win.
That's very plausible also. Yeah.
That's now you'll have to take a week off and think.
Maybe start planning.
Celeste Dennis writes, Dear Alan and Dave, what is your favorite food to eat at the fair? You guys are always going to some zany places up there. You ever eat any carnival food type stuff?
Actually, we just went to a fair last week, and the kids always want. The kids wanted this year. They wanted a candy apple because they'd never had that before, so they took a few bites of that and then we threw it away. But I look for what's cheap, local stuff. Like you see the big carnival food trucks that travel around. I avoid those because it's gonna be like a $12 chicken finger. But we found a nice local place at this one where they had nice burgers for a reasonable carnival price. So I always go for meat. I want some kind of burger.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Sandwich.
Yeah, you're always looking for some meat. All right. I never eat food at carnivals or the fair or whatever ever. I don't go there to eat. That's the thing that kind of weirds me out about it. Is y'all come here to eat.
Yeah, that was basically it for us. What else are you gonna do? They had livestock. That was fun. Alan, the goats are awesome. I feel like I really bonded with them. Like this one, he was we locked eyes, and I don't know.
Aaron Kittner writes, Dear Alan and Dave, how do you keep yourselves motivated when you just don't want to work? Well, that's the only thing Dave wants to do. If he didn't want to work, he would just be lost.
Yeah. I got nothing else.
Well, on the rare instance that you wake up and you just don't feel like going to work in the morning, what do you do to motivate yourself?
Mostly, I think about the money and the bills I owe and the things I want to accomplish. And then just like most of the things in my life, I just go do it anyways.
That feels like more negative reinforcement than positive reinforcement.
It kind of works for me.
It's not like, oh, look at all the good we're going to be able to do. It's, oh no, look at the bills coming up. If I don't do this, then
yeah. Well, I do have a financial goal I want to reach, and then I'm going to buy myself a new pair of sneakers, and then that's that's been in my sights for 8 months.
Well, I'm putting it in my notes that you respond to negative reinforcement. All right. And finally this evening, Mary Lynn Wilimowski writes, Dear Alan and Dave.
Uh-oh.
How do you drive when your significant other lets you drive their new car? Carefully and respectfully? Or do you peel out on a stone-covered country road?
That was 30 years ago. I don't know what I was thinking. I saw fresh tar and chip, and I'm like, I bet you I can peel out real good on this. I was stupid. I didn't know what I was doing. It was disrespectful. She made me get out. I thought she was gonna make me walk home. She let me back in the car in the passenger seat. So that was nice.
I feel like we've learned something from this. and we've learned two things from this. One is you're laughing about it,
That's a
which
long time
means
ago.
that you must not be giving it the proper gravitas. And two, and because you said, quote, that was like 30 years ago, Mary's holding on to it. For that
That's
long.
weird that
She's
it came
holding
back
on
up.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little thing for you to file away. Is she's still holding on
Yeah,
to
that
things.
didn't even occur to me just now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's troubling.
Well, I'm glad we got all the politics tonight out of the way because I don't want your
Yes.
bread and circuses. It's football season, ladies and gentlemen. And so we're going to bring you another edition of Sports Ball with Mike and Alan right after this commercial break. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. Email us at info@alanmosley.tv.
Attention, armchair quarterbacks and shower thought GMs. It's time for this week's episode of Sports Ball with Mike Maharrey and Alan Mosley.
You want to know what's on the front page of ESPN right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What has gone wrong for Florida State? If they want to ask me, I can tell them.
Oh, what hasn't?
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Right?
Ia
Oh,
Maleava. Ia Maleava. Guys, welcome back for... I'm glad you're sitting down, Mike. This is the 5th season of Sports Ball.
Oh, my God.
Can you believe that? I know,
That's
right?
true, because when
Yeah.
we did the very first
Yeah.
Sports Balls, I was in Lexington.
Yeah. This is the 5th season of Sports Ball. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by my co-host and Tampa Bay sports superfan. It's Mike Maharrey. It even says it on a shirt. Mike, how are you doing?
It does. I'm doing good. How are you, Alan?
I'm doing okay. I tell you what, I know a lot of people were saying, like, why is it's so weird that like the NFL was on all these different days in the first week, and there was that weird Brazil game,
Right.
and there was the Thursday night game, but college football had already started, and then of course there's Sunday, and then of course there's Monday Night Football. But with all that in hindsight, I got to tell you, when I came home from work today, I thought, dang, there's no football tonight.
I know.
I've gotten so used to there being a football game on literally every day when I come home that I'm a little bit upset today.
But I heard today, I did not realize this. Apparently, I think the MAC is going to do Tuesday night games. So pretty soon, there will be Tuesday night football that nobody really wants to watch, but it'll be there. So
Hey,
there's that.
you say that, but that's how I fell in love with Boise State back in the day, is that if you wanted to watch a college football game on a Friday night at 11:30, hey, they were there for you.
That's true.
All right.
That's true.
On that note, we sort of had to skip over our college football season preview and really our NFL season preview because we had other episodes prepared and the football season sort of snuck up on us. But now that both seasons are in full swing, what Mike and I are going to do to make up for that little faux pas is we're going to start off with 3 teams trending up and 3 teams trending down, both for college and the NFL. And so as a little caveat, when you say, well, what does trending up and trending down mean only 1 or 2 weeks into the season? And what I mean by that is that if a team is trending up, they were a team that either had a disappointing end to the season last year or didn't make the postseason at all, and they're hot to start this season. And if a team is trending down, it's exactly the opposite. They were a postseason team, or maybe even a conference champion in college, what have you. But this season is not exactly off to a great start. So with that, I'm going to kick things off with college football. Let me tell you about the Canes, the Miami Hurricanes. How about that? Miami, who took care of business in a 56-9 win this week over Florida A&M. That's following last week's dominant 41-17 win over some other team in some other place. Go Gators. Quarterback Cam Ward, the transfer from Washington State via Incarnate Word, for those keeping track at home. You can transfer multiple times now. Just keep right on playing. He's an athletic senior who has finally got the whole package, completing over 75% of his passes, almost 350 yards a game, and 3 touchdowns a game. Don't forget the defense, by the way, who's only allowing 13 points and just over 200 yards a game. Mike, remember that turnover chain? You get a turnover, you get to wear a big fat gold chain.
I do remember that.
This team has already picked off opposing QBs 5 times in 2 weeks.
Woo!
Coach Mario Cristobal, you might recall, he's had a few bumps along the way of learning how to manage active game situations. Probably lost his team a couple of games last year with some unfortunate timeouts, unfortunate penalties that were caused by the sideline. If this is the year that he puts it all together, it could be the year they finally win the ACC. Looking ahead, by the way, they only have one currently ranked team remaining on their schedule. That's number 19 Louisville on October 19th. Mike Maharrey, we're only 2 weeks into the season, and Miami may already be crowned the best team in the state of Florida.
Yeah, I think most people down here in Florida would agree with that. And I tell you what, I really was impressed with Cam Ward. You know, it's always kind of a crapshoot when you bring in a transfer through the portal. You know, you're bringing in a new person into your system. And he looked good against Florida. Not granted, Florida's Florida, but I think you might be hearing that name in Heisman conversations before this year's over.
Boy, but Florida's Florida. Man, how the times have changed. My goodness. Let me tell you about my next team trending up. It's the USC Trojans. I'm not happy about this, by the way. These teams that are trending up.
It is
they
what
just
it
are.
is, though. Right.
Now, this is a team that's replacing Heisman quarterback Caleb Williams, who's playing in Chicago these days. They already have a top 15 win, a 27-20 win over LSU to start the season. They followed that up with a 48-0 thumping of Utah State. Quarterback Miller Moss. Listen to this. Miller Moss waited 3 years, didn't transfer. He wanted to lead the Trojans, and he's finally getting his chance to. He kicked things off with a 378-yard performance against LSU. Caleb who?
Yeah, that's
What?
not bad.
He's completing nearly 73% of his passes at 9.2 yards an attempt. That's been good for 40.5 points per game, and USC has only given up 10 points a game on defense. Head coach Lincoln Riley has a big opportunity this year, Mike. He could make the most out of USC's first season in the Big Ten. And I'll tell you why. They do not face Ohio State in the regular season. This week, they're at Michigan, which, if you saw any football this past weekend, playing at Michigan's, you want to talk about things not being the same as they used to be.
Yeah.
And they also have an October date at home against Penn State. That could punch their ticket to the Big Ten title game on their first time out. How about that?
So weird hearing USC
Yes.
in the Big Ten. Just like it's really weird seeing SEC logo on a Texas Longhorn jersey.
You mean teams in Los Angeles and New Jersey shouldn't be in the same conference? I don't believe that for a second.
What about the Cal?
Fruition of
It's crazy.
Color of orange. See vol and to get a glimpse of that's I got it. 5-0 drubbing of team in 2024 in America. This team does is also starts a game on the ground. His turn to be the feature. Following UT's date in Charlotte, this favored the rest of the include down the road is pretty likely this season. Say that head coach. Now you're going to have to. It wasn't already clear.
About something else. All right. National champion. And the Michigan Jellovitz former offensive starters from Michigan last week. A directional school. I think it's gonna right. That Michigan our Big Ten with the and maybe you. They might get the advantage. To have a newness in Ann Arbor.
People that always ever in their life. I will say as a really weird that they're teams and yet they've shrunk.
Well, I think you're probably downward trending, and I don't even know. Talking about your parentally, I feel like every Dame is ranked. Give me the and Notre Dame. I'm always out at overrated. To make matters worse, act with mediocre. Or then maybe they. But then, and Illinois.
I mean, for emotional after that apparently one of them's North.
And here's the crazy thing.
They're still
in this Florida down. You put it center of the earth there, and tech. They're over like a good. It's not. Use. Of course. And, quarterback level of a Jordan with something like that.
Got left out of the playoffs, even with Jordan Travis' injury, because they were undefeated. The team did what it was supposed to do to reach the top. As someone who's always been a mid-major darling, look, I'll die on that hill. If you do everything the right way and you win your games, you ought to be rewarded for it. Sure. With that said, they haven't won since.
No,
they haven't won since. Oh my goodness. Just a quick little aside before we move into our first break. They're actually playing. Notre Dame was one of our down teams. Notre Dame is going to be hosting down team Florida State the second week of November. I'm going to christen that the Downey Bowl.
Downey Bowl. Nice. Yeah. Back in the day, we would have called that, what was that segment that we used to do? My mind just went blank. I was trying to be funny and then it slipped my mind. So now it's not funny.
Yeah, you're trying to be funny. Tonight's show is proudly sponsored by Fox & Sons Coffee. Fans of It's Too Late use code ITL for 18% off orders of $34.99 or more. Shipping is free on orders of $40 or more. You can find them on their website, which is foxandsons.com. That's foxandsons.com. Nice roll. NFL segment, but I just can actually but teams minutes.
Day. Over. Now, Atlanta was actually the preseason NFC South darling, but they didn't look so great losing to Pittsburgh this weekend, and the Kirk Cousins experiment seemed less than ideal there. Threw a couple of picks, just didn't look good. And, NFC South, not the strongest division, and I think a lot of people are still just kind of ignoring the Bucs, which is fine with us down here in Tampa. But I think people might want to pay attention to the Saints in what came in last issues. 3 touchdowns. The Panthers. I could almost say but for your opponent.
Yes.
So here it's on the offense. So
of the stick based on where. The only thing I have to say, the NFL, that is
Paid the big now.
no.
A lot of people. Explicable. The 6 of their 7 last games to end the season, they got beat by the mighty Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs, and didn't even put up much of a fight in that game. But that may be an anomaly, and they may have put the pieces back together. It certainly looked that way in Brazil against a pretty good Packers team. And one thing that I think that the folks in Philadelphia have to be really excited about is Saquon Barkley, which I think I just butchered his first name, but that's okay. He lit it up, 109 yards rushing, a pair of touchdowns. If the Eagles can run the ball like that, Hurts is going to have a good year. And I think the Eagles could make some noise unless whatever weird, inexplicable thing happened last year happens again.
Yeah, that is Saquon Iamaleava Barkley. That is right. That's his nickname. You know, I mean, obviously, as a Cowboys fan, I don't want to see the Eagles right the ship, but you're right, man. At the end of last season, people were actually saying, is Nick Sirianni going to lose his job despite all the wins that they have accumulated in his tenure because for some weird reason they've just completely. I mean, it seems like leadership, right? How does the same team and the same roster just suddenly start losing that many games? Yeah. But I mean, they're right back in the win column to start this year, so I guess we're on another ride.
We shall see how it all pans out in the end. Well, I've got one more last up-and-comer for you, Alan, and I think you're going to find this one to be a little odd.
Where'd he go?
Come on. How can the defending Super Bowl champions be trending up? Well, I think they might be better than they were last year. Last year, the Chiefs had some issues. I don't think that they had a great receiving core. And I think that they have upgraded in that area. The Mahomes still there. Mahomes is going to Mahomes, and Kelsey's going to Kelsey. But they also have a good rookie receiver in Xavier Worthy, who he made some noise in that first game, had 2 catches. It's not that impressive in terms of total catches, but total 45 yards and a touchdown. So, you know, just what Mahomes needs, more weapons. And they got Juju Schuster back. And I think they've upgraded those receivers. So he's got more weapons. It's not just going to be the Mahomes-Kelsey show. And, yeah, we could end up seeing a Kansas City team rolling into the playoffs looking even stronger than they did last year.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, and we didn't really get to have the opportunity to do any like draft analysis back when the draft happened. But oh my goodness, how does Kansas City, who maybe their one small weakness was they were starting to lose some of their offensive tools outside of Mahomes, and what did they do? They picked dead last because they're the Super Bowl winner, and they get Xavier Worthy.
Right.
This guy's going to be a star in the NFL, and he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, what a joy for a rookie playmaker to say, oh, I guess I'll just get drafted by the Super Bowl champions with Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
NFL teams that Ravens, who kind of the other half of your trending up team right there.
Right.
Listen to Baltimore. You're the number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs last year. The hype train completely derails once again. It's a combination of Kansas City and a lack of execution in the postseason, which is something that's plagued Ravens QB Lamar Jackson's career. Now, the Ravens had a chance for revenge in the season opener against KC, but the results were sadly exactly the same. Hot start, not much else to speak of the rest of the way. Now, they were quarters back there. Henry running also left. Ravens have not the go-to guy anymore in crunch time. Ravens head coach John Harbaugh, now in his 15th year, by the way. He's 15 years in Baltimore now.
I did not
He
realize
may
that.
very well have his team positioned to win another AFC North title against a depleted where they tier team.
Right. I mean,
The Cincinnati Bengals. Listen to this for the Cincinnati Bengals, because this was a pop self as the team to challenge Kansas City for the AFC this year. They've done it before. Kansas City has had trouble with the Bengals in the past. Joe Burrow had his first full training camp completely healthy since leaving Louisiana State. Can you believe that? Yeah. Completely healthy for the first time since leaving LSU. And just like that, they're sitting at 0-1. They're 0-1 in the AFC, no less. 0-1 in the AFC with a loss to the preseason last place pick, the New England Patriots, at home.
Ouch.
Now, it's hard to blame Burrow. He had a pedestrian 164 yards and no touchdowns. But frankly, it's hard to score touchdowns when your receivers drop open passes in the end zone. It's also hard to score touchdowns when you hit a receiver over the middle who promptly fumbles the ball at the goal line. The running game, led by Zach Moss, only managed 55 yards, excluding Burrow's own scrambles. They also added another fumble to the mix. The defense held New England to 16 points. And Burrow's falter game. Matter who dropped. Let's move. Not only we're in bad, ladies and gentlemen. So we're moving on to Cleveland. It's Believeland who sent Joe Flacco packing with the return of their $200 million man, Deshaun Watson. And Watson picked up right where they left off with the franchise QB, and I don't mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
Watson barely completed 50% of his attempts for 160 yards and 2 They finished Myles Garrett was mostly silent the entire game, and the Cowboys even managed a punt return touchdown just for good measure. Worst of all was Watson himself, who under pressure by the Dallas front seven almost every snap of the game. Mike Maharrey, Deshaun Watson hasn't been touched up this much since he was at a spa in Houston. But that's just what I heard. You know, he's the one with firsthand experience. If you know what I mean.
So do you think the
contract on I now have to go through when you're paying somebody that much money and he's the age he is, which is relatively young, he is your guy. But I'm just saying, this is a team that was tripping over themselves to get Joe Flacco out of the building because they didn't want any quarterback drama to start this season. And Joe Flacco played better than this. Joe Flacco played better than this in his worst game. So,
isn't Crablegs backing up Watson now?
I don't know. Where is Crablegs?
I think he is. I think he's the backup in Cleveland.
Well, get on our solemn. Remember.
Well, Alan, this week I'm remembering the hopes and dreams of the University of Kentucky Wildcat football fans.
No!
Now, longtime listeners to SportsBall, if not or no, or a is the year championship, and then they get their hearts dashed when they play Georgia. Well, this year UK just decided to forego all of the hopes and dreams stuff, and we're just going to start with a big 31-6 loss to the South Carolina Gamecocks. So, UK fan, you don't even have to wait until this weekend to watch Kentucky get pummeled by Georgia. You already know it's over. Get ready for basketball season because that's what they do in Lexington.
Not only is it over, but once they're done getting pummeled by Georgia, they get to play UT, and then they get to play another UT.
Yeah.
So, with that note, I'm remembering Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans. The Titans led this game. Mike Maharrey, this was their most winnable game on the schedule.
Yeah.
This was the most winnable game on their schedule, and they led 17-0 in the second half against a Bears team that is likely to once again finish pretty low in the rankings. Despite the performance the defense put up for 3.5 quarters, they lost 24-17. Yes, that's right, 24 unanswered points. But don't blame the defense. They gave up a blocked punt, and Will Levis decided to toss a pick six. Will Levis finished the game averaging 4 yards an attempt to go along with 3 turnovers.
That's a yikes.
That's a time to fire the general manager. You drafted a bust. Get him out of here. All right. We're going to wrap up things really quick with our picks. We're going to start with Thursday night football. The Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are actually 2.5-point underdogs on the road facing the Miami Dolphins. These are divisional rivals that are going to be in a tight race for the playoffs all year. But both of these teams needed to come from behind to win their home openers against so-so competition. So hard to say what we're looking at Thursday night. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to take the Dolphins just by virtue of playing at home. It's going to be hot in South Florida, and that tends to be difficult for teams, especially coming down from up north. And I just I like the Dolphins offense. Now, I didn't like the Dolphins offense in their opening game, but I think that there are the tools there to put points on the board. And, I'm at the point with Buffalo. They're just going to have to prove me wrong in order to get me to believe in them. So I'm going to take the Dolphins with that 2.5 points.
Yeah, it really just doesn't matter what Josh Allen can or can't do. The fact of the matter is it's proven that they need help, but their championship window is closed. Other people on this program are going to be upset, but I'm going Dolphins as well. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints, which are 6.5-point underdogs. They just won a game by 40 points, and they're 6.5-point underdogs playing at Dallas Cowboys. What do you think?
I think that's a big number for a pretty good number. Saints team. Yeah, and I think Dallas is a good thing, a good team. I think Dallas has probably improved over last year. I'm still not sold on Dak, despite his big.
don't feel good about it, but I'm going to take, but for the sake of this, I'm taking the Cowboys minus the points. I think if the Cowboys play to their potential, then they win by 2 touchdowns, whereas the Saints have to play great and hope that Dak makes mistakes for them to win the game. I think the Saints are good enough to win the NFC South, but that Dallas Cowboys ain't in the NFC South.
Fair.
Or any other good teams for that matter. Moving on to our third pick out of 4, it's the Seattle Seahawks that are 3.5-point favorites on the road at the New whose quarterback did not have exactly the best debut to their career. And the Patriots, once again, I mean, the Patriots were picked to be the worst team in the league. New coach, new system, new quarterback, which is not even on the field yet because they're still playing Jacoby Brissett. And yet they already knocked off the Bengals in their home. So why couldn't they win their home opener against the Seahawks? What do you think?
Well, I think they could. I think the New England defense might be a little bit better than people gave them credit for, which will allow them to stay in games.
Mm-hmm.
Go either way. I think I'm going to go ahead and stay on the New England hype train and give them the win.
You know what? I'm also going to pick the Patriots based entirely on the fact that their rookie head coach is Vol for life, Gerard Mayo.
Nice.
That's right. And finally, last game of the week. This is the kind of game that people expect to see in the AFC Championship game, and yet suddenly all of the hype has been completely removed from this matchup because of just how downward trending the Bengals looked in Week 1. But we've got the Cincinnati Bengals, Kansas City to play the Chiefs. What do you think?
I'm going to take the Bengals with those points, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think that what we saw in Cincinnati, I think we're having the typical overreaction Monday. I don't think the Bengals were as bad as they looked against the Patriots. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to give it a tough game. I still think Kansas City will probably win the game, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer and more competitive than folks might be expecting.
Okay. I'm going to continue to be overreactive and say I think. With that said, Mike.
You know where my final thought? Hockey league. I just want folks to know.
Of course it does.
Of course
Imagine
it does.
that.
And you know what happens in 1 week?
1 week?
NHL training camps open up. We've got rookie camps happening right now.
Yeah.
So hockey is not far away. I'm excited.
I've always believed that I could get SportsBall off the ground as soon as football season starts because Mike will come back. But the reality is he's actually just waiting until hockey's within reach, and then he comes back.
Exactly.
I'll give you a quick final thought. Boise State running back Alshon Jenti. Remember last week when I told you, hey, look at this guy who ran for like 4,000. He 459 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Good grief.
He's averaging 230 yards and 4.5 touchdowns a game. All on the ground. That's not including all-purpose yards, by the way. He's on pace to shatter running records for a season. If he manages to do that, and this is the reason why it's my final thought, he should be getting a call from the Heisman Committee regardless of what school he plays for.
Agreed.
Absolutely ridiculous.
If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley.
Like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Alan Mosley TV. Twitter. It's twitter.com/Alan Mosley TV. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/Alan Mosley TV. But if you're more of a listener than a watcher, get us on your favorite blah, 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 podcasting platform of choice. That's It's Too Late with Alan Mosley TV.
Hey,
Boy, it feels good for football season, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah. It kind of eases you out of summer.
No.
No?
No.
Still hurts?
I want it to be summer all year, so.
Gross.
I just moved
Wouldn't be
further
fall
south.
all year. Football season all year.
Just go to Canada then.
That's hockey season all year.
Yeah, I was telling the guys, because we've been doing these watch parties on the It's Too Late Discord for football, that this
gotta get
past
on the
week,
Discord.
they had Thursday night football this past week, and then they had the Brazil game on Friday night, and then, of course, college football on Saturday, and then they had, of course, football on Sunday, and then they had the Monday night football game. There was football 5 days in a row, so that when Tuesday got here, I was after party.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, not too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're not going to get too wacky in the after party.
Oh, no. Save
Okay,
the
all
wackiness
right.
for the show.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of It's Too Late, and we will see you next week.
Oh, them some good football analysts you got there.
Last year we talked about when this football season got here, we would start the pool, pull some money together and start betting on my picks, because my picks are always so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't start picking until a few weeks into the year. You gotta wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Can't
Flush it
let
out.
those